What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. Got a review for you. Last night I checked out Captain Marvel in IMAX. It is one of my most highly anticipated films of 2019, and it is also the 21st film in the 11-year running Marvel Cinematic Universe. Can you believe it? It has been 11 years since Iron Man 1 came out in 2008, and now Captain Marvel is the second last film before it ends Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is, of course, followed by and concluded with Avengers Endgame, and then we're going to move on to Phase 4. Anyways, before I do this review, I just want to mention that this review has no spoilers. Second, I actually think that all films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are good to great to outstanding. There's a lot of good films, there's a number of great films, and then a handful of outstanding films. So I think that they are all good films in my opinion. None of them are bad films. In fact, the weakest film in these 21 films, in my opinion, is The Incredible Hulk, and I actually thought that was at the very most decent. At the very least, it was decent. I didn't think it was bad. It was a decent film. And then so on. You know what I'm saying? So they're all good films, and then a handful of them are outstanding. So I think this is a very, very great running franchise. It hasn't made a weak film yet, okay, in my opinion. I just enjoy them a lot. And the next thing I want to say before I do my review is that none of the marketing for Captain Marvel got me excited for this film. It's true. The teaser didn't get me excited. The trailer didn't get me excited. I really liked the scene where she's flying around space and shooting ships down, but that was the only scene that really got me excited. In fact, the only time that I really got excited about a Captain Marvel film was when Nick Fury paged Captain Marvel at the end of Avengers Infinity War. But I was thinking to myself, was I actually excited about the film, or was I excited about the fact that this movie, like, it teased that there's more to come? And I'm not talking about like the film itself, but a new character that's gonna kick Thanos' ass. Like, I wasn't sure what I was really excited about, but I was excited. But only that scene got me excited about this film, not the numerous marketing videos that were out there. Not teasers, not trailers, not TV spots. None of those did anything for me. Anyways, so those are my thoughts before watching the movie. Now that I've watched the movie, I'm going to give you my most honest review about this film. I'm going to change the format a bit. I actually want to share with you my cons, and then I'm going to talk about my pros. Things that didn't work for me and could use some improvement, and things that I thought really worked for this film. Let's start off with the cons in no particular order. I wasn't a big fan of the direction of this film. It had a lot of flashbacks, like, scattered throughout the entire movie, and it just really kind of made the narrative structure of this film very, very choppy, and it didn't flow very well, and I just wasn't a big fan of that. Maybe some people liked it, and as a matter of fact, a lot of people liked it, but it didn't work for me. Another thing is that this film suffers from what I'd like to call, and this is very, very common, and a lot of people know about this, weak Marvel villain syndrome. And this plagues the MCU because there are not a lot of good villains in the MCU. There are a lot of good films, but the villains kind of make up a really weak aspect of those films. The only great villains, in my opinion, are Loki, Thanos, and Baron Zemo, in my opinion. But the rest of them, really quite forgettable. Sure, some of them are decent, but they don't really make that impression on you. Unfortunately, the antagonist element in this film, Captain Marvel, really doesn't make an impression on you either. So that's really unfortunate because, you know, Captain Marvel is a really powerful character. She should deal with a powerful villain. Maybe they'll do that in the sequel. Anyways, that's really unfortunate. So that could definitely use some improvement. I'm not sure why they decided to go with that with a character like Captain Marvel, but that's what they did. Now let's talk about the character itself. I mean, herself. Brie Larson plays Captain Marvel, the title character. There's a lot of like, you know, a lot of anticipation about this. But I'll tell you, Brie Larson is uncharismatic as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. She just didn't work for me. In fact, if I had to choose any actress, my first choice would have been Emily Blunt. I would have rather picked Emily Blunt. Brie Larson, like I said, she's uncharismatic. She's just kind of bland in this movie. She just doesn't have that personality, not even a likable personality, and it just doesn't work for me. So that's really unfortunate. And then I also think that the character of Captain Marvel, and this has nothing to do with her, it's more like is more like the way she was written, is that her character is way too overpowered. In this film, she's super, super overpowered, which of course, you know, now that connects directly with the villain of the movie. It makes the villain really, really weak. She's overpowered, she can do a lot of things, and it just makes the action, and now I'm going to talk about the action seems unimpressive to me. It's just nothing that exciting because, I mean, Avengers Infinity War really set a really high bar for action, but, you know, we're not, you know, it's not that I need to see epic battles or anything like that. I just wanted to see something different that we haven't seen before, and I feel like a lot of the action that we're seeing in Captain Marvel is stuff that we've already seen in the Iron Man films. It just doesn't really do anything different, and I'm not saying that it needs to be like that spectacular or anything, but just give us something different. You know, like Ant-Man. Ant-Man has a very unique ability, and they use that to give us really creative action sequences. Captain Marvel can fly. She has photon blasts out of her that she can shoot out of her hands, and she's just very strong. So I feel like they could have done way more stuff with her character instead of what we were given. Maybe this is just you know, an intro to her character. I mean, it really is, but I guess they're saving more spectacular stuff for future films, right? So who knows? This movie is also not action-packed like a lot of other Marvel Cinematic Universe films. A lot of them have really great build-ups to big action. Like, it's not really like that at all. In fact, there's not a lot of emotional stakes here, so there's no real build-up to it. And even when the action happens, you're just watching it. You're not really feeling like, it's not a nail-biting moment. It's not intense. It's not like that exciting, and it's not really, it doesn't really make you feel like, oh my god, you know what I'm saying? Because she's just overpowered. I never really felt any sense of danger. Finally, this is the last thing I want to mention is okay, so you guys know that this is a feminist movie, and I have no problem with that, okay? You know, I'm all for girl power, and I actually like films with strong female characters. I really like that. It actually, a lot of great scenes come from moments that involve strong female characters. However, there is something that they do in this movie, and that is fourth wall breaking. They do it like twice in this movie, and that is to convey the message to the audience of feminism. And I'm just thinking, like, you know, the whole movie is a message of feminism, which is totally fine. You know, I'm cool with that, okay? I have no problem with that at all. But they break the fourth wall, which really distracts you from the film. Like, it just, you know, the audience totally reacted to it when it happened. And it just feels like, okay, we get it. We totally get it, okay? So, yeah, it was, I heard some groans, okay? I heard some people laughing, but they all knew that this was done on purpose. And when I like saw it happen, when I heard it happen in the dialogue, I was just thinking, okay. Anyways, so those are my cons. And it sounds like I said a lot of things, but actually there are a lot of pros about this film. And I'm going to list them in no particular order right now. I'm going to start off by saying that the Stan Lee tributes, and that's plural, the Stan Lee tributes were great. They were so great. Oh, it was awesome. It was a great way to, it was a great send-off for this legend. All right, so that was awesome. Obviously, there's a fan moment. I feel that this film complements Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame very, very well. This is a film that you have to see. It's necessary viewing just because it provides context to the next film. But it also complements Avengers Infinity War very, very well as well. So that's really great about this movie. Ben Mendelsohn is great. He plays a Skrull leader, and he's great in this film. I like Ben Mendelsohn. He's actually a very, very great actor, and he's great in all the roles that he's been in. Now, this isn't like his best or one of his better roles, but he's still a great actor. Therefore, he brings, you know, he brings his top game into this, he brings his A game into this movie, and it really shows you that had it been played by another actor, we would have gotten a very, very different result. So I like what I saw based on what Ben Mendelsohn gave us for the character. I also enjoyed the comedy bits in this film. All the Marvel Cinematic Universe films are fun. They're fun to watch, and they have humor in them. and some are more serious than others. But this film has a lot of comedy bits in it, and I really enjoyed all the humor, especially when a lot of them were a lot of sight gags based on the fact that it's set in the 90s. So there's a lot of visual moments which will make you chuckle a bit because of how funny it is watching 90s stuff now. So that's really cool. And of course, with it being set in the 90s, lots of nostalgia. I loved the set design, the production design. Like, it just felt like a 90s movie. The car chase, like everything about it just like exuded the 90s. So they really did a great job in really bringing us back to that era. Also, let's talk about some characters. I really liked the Maria Rambeau, played by Lashana Lynch. She was actually, like, she stands out. Like, she's a great actress in this movie. Like, I've never seen her in anything else. Like, this is the first time I've seen her, and I really like her character. I like the way she was written. I like her, like, her personality in this film. She feels like a very strong character, and that gives me an impression, like a good impression on her. She makes an impression on me, unlike Brie Larson, which didn't make a real impression on me as Captain Marvel. You know what I'm saying? I really like this version of Nick Fury. The Nick Fury that we've always seen has been the Nick Fury that we've seen in all those movies that we've seen in Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is a very different version of Nick Fury. As a matter of fact, now that I'm really thinking about it, you know, Nick Fury is there to help Carol Danvers kind of uncover some mysteries. In a sense, kind of like help her remember things. It kind of reminds me of this other movie, which has the exact same premise, and that is The Long Kiss Goodnight, which also stars Samuel Jackson. So I feel that, and you know, the character that Samuel Jackson played in Long Kiss Goodnight, his character's name is Hennessy. I felt that Nick Fury in Captain Marvel actually is kind of like an extension of the Hennessy character. It's just got a lot of those quirky bits. He's a lot funnier in this movie. He's not so serious like when you watch him in the other Marvel Cinematic Universe films. And you see that progression, like how he was before he was a S.H.I.E.L.D. director. And the way he, you know, he's a little bit more, you know, I wouldn't say like noob or rookie, but, you know, there's a progression. Like, he wasn't always like that when he was, when he was younger. You know what I'm saying? So that was cool. And also, speaking of Nick Fury, I love the chemistry between Nick Fury and Carol Danvers. I would love to watch more scenes with them together, because when they're together, there is some really great chemistry there. And when they're together, it's not even just a dialogue, but those scenes that were written for them in situations, those are really great scenes in the movies. Like in this movie. Like, these are some really, really great scenes. It almost feels like a buddy movie. It does really feel like a buddy movie. They just feed off each other, and they work off each other, and it works really, really well. They give Nick Fury like quite a bit of screen time. I don't feel that he's a supporting character. I feel that he's in a main role in this movie. He gets a lot of screen time, and that is great. What else is there? And also, finally, I want to say that while this movie doesn't have, like, I feel that the character development in this movie is kind of weak, I do like how the story develops. I actually really enjoyed how we're uncovering new things and mysteries and elements about this story as we go along. So that kept me very, very engaged throughout this film. You know, I said a lot of cons, but the story works for me. It's just the way that they told the story, you know, wasn't as good. But the story it's got a good story. It's a story about self-discovery. It's an origin story, and there's a lot going on in there. There's a lot of elements that really that are thrown into the story. A lot of surprises, so it keeps you on your toes as an audience. But I will say, now I've said a lot of cons, I've said a lot of pros. I will say that unfortunately, with everything that I've said and all that I've seen in the movie, this is a film that falls in the, you know, the weaker films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I did say that all the films are good, and we did watch a very good film. I felt that Captain Marvel is a good film. I enjoyed it. It was engaging for me, but it still is not a great film. I didn't love this movie. I didn't think it was great. I just thought it was good, and I enjoyed it. I still think it's a solid like installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it complements both Avengers Infinity War and Endgame very, very well. It does so very, very well, but This is only a good movie, and I'm actually going to rank it. Where am I going to rank this? Hold on, let me see. I'm going to rank this at 19. Yeah, I'm going to rank it at 19. Bottom 3. Number 21, Incredible Hulk. Number 20, Iron Man 2. Number 19, Captain Marvel, followed by number 18, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So, it's down there. It's down there. It's unfortunate. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, which is still a high score. It's above 5 out of 10. It's 7.5 out of 10. But the majority of my rankings for these films, a lot of them are 8s and 9s. They're all very good films, but Captain Marvel is one of the bottom dwellers. So, but it's a must-see film. You gotta watch this film. You definitely gotta watch it, especially if you're gonna check out Endgame. It won't make any sense to you if you don't watch Endgame, so, or rather, Captain Marvel. So, you gotta watch it, okay? 7.5 out of 10. Definitely a lot of cons, but there's still a lot of pros to this film. It's an enjoyable film. I liked it. I just didn't think it was great. I didn't love this film, okay? Go check it out. Support this film. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is still solid. As always, if you enjoyed this review, you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.